Welcome to Mainstream with Harpreet Singh Toor. आप सबनों प्यार भरी सत श्री अकाल, नमस्कार, आदाब and shalom. First of all, the people who live in Florida Panhandle and the west side of the Florida, we have the hurricane threat over there, and the governor over there, DeSantis, he has already declared emergency in those counties and have ordered to evacuate that area. So, yes, it is a situation where the Mother Nature is taking over whatever means we have to protect ourselves. And once again, Mother Nature is proving that you can fight only up to some point, and beyond that, you can't, because then the Mother Nature strikes back. And this is something really interesting because this hurricane, which was supposed to be a Category 1, now it is going to be probably Category 3, and the reason is the temperature in the Gulf of Mexico is 3 to 4 degrees higher, the ocean temperature over there, than the normal at this time, which means it feeds more moisture to the air, more strength to the air, and it makes the hurricanes more stronger. And which means once they hit the land, there is more rain. And if we really look, let's forget about the word for a moment, because I definitely am going to talk about what is happening in Punjab, East or West Punjab. Let us talk about the United States alone. If we really look at it, during this last 2 years, there has been catastrophic rains and snow and everything. And this year already, we had the alarming heat waves, and now we are having alarming rains. First, there was only last week, a hurricane hit the California side, the Mexican peninsula, and from there, Baja, Mexico, and then into California, San Diego, and north, and went all the way into Nevada, and Nevada, New Mexico, of course, the California. And the flooding, it's unimaginable. The people who never expected to have rain, whatever the quantity of the rain fell on that single day, that was like for the whole year in certain areas. And destruction was really unbelievable. And now we have on Florida Panhandle where it is going to hit, and we won't know the destruction after it passes, but already the signs are that it's going to be devastating because the rains and everything. Even we live in New York. Even here in New York, we have been seeing the pattern of rain. It comes in, it pours like hell, and then stops. It was not like that. Now going back, same situation. We're talking about going to Hawaii. What happened over there was because of the change of the weather, the forests, they were so dry that this wind swept fire one after another. The whole houses, rows of the houses, they got gutted, including some of the historical buildings, the libraries, schools, and everything. And then you go into the Europe, and Europe you see in Greece what is happening. The fires, they cannot be controlled. And this is all because of the higher temperature, climate change. And because of that, the fire, once the fire is there, it cannot be controlled, even though they are trying their best to control. So in other words, the damage from this change of the climate is so severe. And climatologists, those people who specialize in climate and everything, they had been warning of this thing. And I was reading about it that initially early in 1990s, when George Bush, the senior, was the president, at that time there was the international community came close to reach a deal, but then it did not happen. Then yes, George W. Bush came in, they started again, then Obama came in, he gave really hard push to it. Then we got the former president, Donald Trump. He pulled out of that international climate treaty. He took out the United States because, it's the political base. Yeah, I will definitely talk about what the leadership should be and what the leadership is. Not just here in the United States, we are going to talk about leadership, back home in India and Pakistan, Brazil, and then we have China, Russia, and Ukraine, and then we have, Italy also, which has its own issue, and in France we have this resurgent right-wing people. So again, I'm going to repeat here again, the question is not about being right extremist or left extremist. The question is what we want, what the humanity should be looking for, and is the leadership there to provide it or confront it? Those are the issues. So after a while, now let's go back to our continent, to India, especially the Punjab, Himachal, and Haryana, and then Punjab on Pakistan side also. What is happening is, again and again, the waves of the rain are coming, the monsoon rains, and Punjab got flooded really badly on east side. Haryana got flooded. Kaggar actually, which actually, is a seasonal river, but has its own capacity to destroy the crops and everything. That did the damage. And then this water actually flows into Pakistan side of the Punjab. And then the issue comes in. There are short-term solutions, there are long-term solutions. Short-term solutions, of course, is, maintaining the infrastructure, building new infrastructure to contain it, mitigation of the floods, and then how to control it. Those are the short-term. But the long-term are more painful, which no leader is right now talking about or willing to take the the bull by the horn, except we got to admit that there are some progress, at least in the United States. In California, they have decided to put aside close to like 500,000 acres of land, agriculture land, not to use it, leave it. The reason is because of the climate change. The rivers do not have Colorado River, which has been a source of water supply to those to irrigate those areas. It does not have enough water anymore. So the states have their own fight about how much every state should be getting. And then, each state has agreed to some kind of formula to contain the usage of the water, number one. Number two, after usage of the water, then, based on whatever they are entitled, what portion and how much land to leave to Mother Nature. And those are kind of like long-term solutions which we need to look at. And we should not forget that these things are actually going to affect every part of the world. A lot of people, we're talking about wave of refugees going to Europe and coming to the United States also. Those are not all criminals, like Trump would like to state, and he always has said that. And, I'm not saying they are all saints. There may be some criminal elements in there, but yes, there are gangs who are out there just to make money. and they are making money out of this terrible, terrible situation, just to, fatten their pockets. But at the same time, the people who are migrating, they have bigger issues. They have the future issue of the generations which they are belonging to. And believe it or not, I had first-hand conversation with some of the young generation who are in about close to 30s, plus and minus 1 or 2 years. And when I talk to them about getting married and stuff like that, I got a very, believe it or not, a very, very shocking answer. One of the answer was, well, one of the reasons I have no intention to get married is, why should I get married? Who I'm going to bring to, what kind of future that kid will have if I get married and I have the kids, which really shocked me, even though I countered it that you should be looking at that maybe that kid will be a future leader who will be able to tackle the situation head on, which we do not have the current leadership, the guts, and the statesmanship to do it, because everybody is looking right now to getting elected. Like I have said it so many times, that the first thing of the person who gets elected is to get re-elected. That is their first priority. And to do that, they will do whatever they will think they need to do, including pushing the community into a bias where they cannot come back. Right now, the United States is passing through it, India is passing through it, Pakistan is passing through it, where the churches and the houses of the worshippers who believed in Jesus Christ and who happened to be Christians, their houses were destroyed, put on fire, just because somebody said, well, they disrespected the Quran. With all due respect, excuse me, like I said, I have this throat issue. I would like to add something here. We don't hear anything about the Bible being desegregated. The reason is because the people who believe in Jesus Christ, or those who want to spread Christianity, they say one thing. They are like, okay, excuse me, here is our Bible. Keep it, doesn't matter which way you keep it. If you read it at least one page during your next 2 years, 5 years, 10 years, for us that's an achievement. They really don't mind how you keep that Bible in your house, but that's their way of looking at it. Our way of looking at it, especially when you go out into eastern sides, Muslims and Sikhs, yes, it should not be done, period. No ifs and buts about it. But if somebody is doing it, how to tackle it? Should we just kill the person? Would that eliminate the situation? No, it hasn't done before. Look at what is happening with the Quran in Europe. Nothing is changing. So we need to look at those kind of things, and then look at that how and what kind of future we want for our communities, the people who can live together respecting each other's faith, and then looking at the solutions. Welcome back to Mainstream with Harpreet and Toor. एक बारी फिर आप सब नु प्यार भरी सत श्री अकाल, नमस्कार आदाब. And like I always say, please feel free to send me an email at justoor@gmail.com with any questions, any suggestions, or anything. Now let us talk about one more situation which is developing. Even though most of the time I do talk about American politics, but I try to touch a little bit on what happens back home in India. But it is important that we should not forget, because that's where I was born, where I grew up before I migrated to the United States. And interestingly, there are things which I learned here, I'm pretty sure, definite, not just pretty sure, I'm definite had I been in India, I definitely would not have learned it. And the biggest thing is how to look at the freedom of speech. And once again, yes, I'm going to talk about it. There is a reason for that. First of all, you know, it's amazing that the governor of Punjab is threatening to the chief minister of Punjab, who have 91 MLAs, to recommend to the president to, you know, implement president's rule in Punjab. On what grounds? You know, the BJP has the government in Haryana, the BJP have their own governor in Haryana. The violence took place in Noor, so many people died, no action was taken, and the actions were taken after everything happened. And nobody talked about suspending that government. Manipur is burning for a couple of months now. The government is supported by the BJP, governor is BJP, and they are not even talking about law and order situation. Not a single political statement came from the Prime Minister Modi, or any other person. The only statement which came when he was forced to give a statement on the floor of the parliament was, by 2024 Manipur will be, calm. Which means what? For the next 4 months, yeah, you can kill anybody, you can walk around, and interestingly, the people who are dying are the minorities, and the people who are actually perpetrating those crimes are the majorities protected, believe it or not. At least when you look at it, it appears the government is protecting, because no action is really being taken to contain the situation and then to, soothe the feelings and do anything, politically or otherwise, except, give the statements. And on top of that, there is a university, Ashoka University in Delhi, which is a private university, and a professor over there wrote, the professor, they write their own papers, before they come out with the books and everything. And he talked about 2019 election, that how some of the seats which BJP could not have, won and would not have won in 2019, how it happened. And instead of, letting the freedom of thought flow, freedom of speech flow, immediately there was a pushback, which is, since Prime Minister Modi came into the power, that is visible that any time something comes out against the government, whether it's the state government controlled by BJP or the central government, which is by the BJP, just pounce on it, discredit the person who is talking about it. And I was talking to certain people within in India who were not BJP affiliated people, and I started talking to them. I started asking them about the results in certain parts, because when you look at demographically which community lives in what part and who won, then you start questioning that how come over here, the majority community did not have their candidate won, but in the meantime, the minority community, who really doesn't have that much presence, they have their candidate winning that seat. And I was told that there were booths which actually were either kept out of reach, or the people were told before the election that they cannot and they should not come out and vote if they want their safety and their family safety. So that is something which I spoke to certain people, and that is something which that professor wrote. Yeah, on faculty there are some professors who actually came to his support, and then others who actually are not saying anything. And that brings me to another situation where I talked about a couple of weeks ago, one of this professor who was taking a temporary class. Her speech was actually, cut and paste, and it was put on social media. The police came to this college, talked to the principal. Principal invited the teacher, the professor, who was just filling in, and the whole context of the conversation was changed by using the techniques, the modern techniques. And yeah, she was offered that if she will apologize, the whole case will disappear. She refused because she was like, the freedom of expression in the class should not be a question to be discussed and used. The person who used it this way was wrong to do it, should not have done it. But I will not apologize because I did not say anything wrong, and the things are being taken out of context. And she was suspended. So it goes down to what kind of country, what kind of world we want to live in. Do we want to have the generations who are scared, who will just follow like robots, come in like a machine, at the end of the day, go? Or you want something, where you can build. That is my issue here in the United States also. And I have spoken over there too. There was a professor in Penn State University, a female professor, who actually talked about that how South Asians are, how Asians, not South Asians, Asians are intellectually less intelligent than the white community. And there was a pushback from the woke, the so-called woke, or I call them extreme left-sided, to suspend her. The university actually did go ahead, and there were issues. As of today, I don't know whether she was actually suspended or she was reinstated or not. But I spoke against that at that time. No, she had the right to say. Same thing, when a professor went to California to a university to give a lecture, he was a professor who was considered an intellectual, who was considered to be more toward the right of the center. And there were demonstrations by the students and everything. And his presentation was canceled. We don't want that. I was reading about a student from one of the Asian countries, not South Asia, Asian countries. I'm not going to name the country because the student was from Columbia University. That's the only thing which I will say. And she was talking about, that how within universities, like the institutions like Columbia, your speech, what you can say and what you cannot say, they tell you that you cannot do X, Y, and Z, which means they are already, limiting or trying to limit your freedom of thoughts, freedom of speech. They are censoring what you should be saying. They are censoring what you should not be saying. Why? That is something which is a danger, and that student literally said that if this continued, America is not going to progress the way we thought it will. Before I start talking about the debate, the Republican debate which took place last week, there's something I want to talk about again. About, because we are still in August, 15th of August for India, 14th of August for Pakistan. The division of India to, carve out Pakistan, East Pakistan, West Pakistan, and then East Pakistan becoming Bangladesh. a lot of needs to be explored and talked about, and finally there are few things which are coming out. There are few bright lights which I see that some of the people who saw that or who were at that time who are still alive and they have some memory, they're talking about it. But interestingly, I came across a book written by Rajmohan Gandhi, the grandson of Mahatma Gandhi, a history from Aurangzeb to Mountbatten. Of course, it is not just from Aurangzeb, the history. I haven't read the book yet, but I read some of the parts of it, and I read some of the other things in the book, that how and what. And one thing which is interesting, which I came across, because within Punjab, Mahatma Gandhi is not liked that much, and in Gujarat, Punjabis are not liked that much. So it's sort of like a mutual love-hate relationship. The question why and how this thing happened, Rajmohan Gandhi tried to answer some of the questions, which honestly I was also hesitant to pick up the book to begin with, that what he knows about Punjab. But after I read some of the things on it, I decided that I should grab the book, because if I want to have an authentic view on it, I need to have the other side's views also. And those who really want to see what's going on and what happened, I would recommend that they should also grab a book. It has actually been translated into Punjabi also, and I think it is Harpal Singh Pannu who translated the book in Punjabi. So you can get this book in Punjabi as well. Those who don't feel comfortable reading much in English, they can definitely get Punjabi, and I have Punjabi version as well, to be honest with you. Now coming back to American politics, let's talk about it. What is happening within Republican Party? We had, last Wednesday we had debate on the Republican candidates. Of course, the former president, who claims to be the current president, who wants to be the next president, he was missing. But there were 2-3 things which really I was surprised. I was surprised to begin with by Nikki Haley. Yeah, she was the governor of North Carolina, and when she was the governor, we had this shooting in Wisconsin, and it was a couple of days before she even gave a statement. And she happens to be, belong to a Sikh family. Okay, her father and her brother, they are Sikhs with the, fully with the beard and turban and everything. जिन्हां नूं असीं साबत सूरत Sikh जिन्हां नूं असीं पंजाबी दे विच कहंदे हैगे हां. She was honest enough to say that Trump actually added more to the deficit than any other president. And nobody wants to talk about it in the Republican Party. I really was surprised when she said that. But I was happy that at least somebody is taking the bull by horn. Because everybody was, it is a fashion to blame the Democrats because they want to protect the Social Security and Medicare. Like I always say, those are not entitlements. Those are our rights, because we contribute towards Social Security. We contribute towards Medicare. So stop calling them entitlements. Because the people who contribute to it, they don't have a begging bowl in front of you that we did not contribute anything, please, please, please give us something. No, it is not like that. So, and and when you look at that, then we had Chris Christie, and then we have Vivek Ramaswamy. Okay, And of course, DeSantis, who was over there, number one, because minus Trump, he was the highest, poll-wise, whatever their criteria is. So he was number one. And when I saw DeSantis talking, I just saw him coming out angry. I did not see him coming out talking the way Nikki Haley did. Yeah, Chris Christie had said from day one that he is going to be a wrecking ball for the Trump, which actually, doesn't really help in the sense that people already assume that he will have certain words for him, whatever he will say, he will say. So, having said that, Vivek, who claims to have the, to be the president of the United States, he's already throwing Ukraine and Taiwan under the bus. The people, I have come across the people who don't agree how the Ukraine war should be funded. Okay? As far as I'm concerned, I don't have any issue with the funding because I can see that how the Ukraine was guaranteed a security by Russia before the nuclear weapons were removed from Ukraine. And then Russia decided to attack and take over Ukraine. Okay? So it is not a question of Ukraine. Number one, it's a question of principle. Number two, today it is Ukraine. Tomorrow it will be Poland. Day after that it will be, the country next to the Poland. We have Switzerland and Finland. They have already joined the NATO because of that. And the other countries, we had East Germany at one point, which was part of Soviet, communist bloc, okay? And where would Russia stop then? Azerbaijan, Kazakhstan, all those countries, small countries. And then we have Georgia, South Ossetia, which was actually carved out by Russia out of Georgia, okay? So we as a people, we have a very short memory. And I was having a debate with somebody last night about, he was like, well, we should be investing only in America first. Like, I always say more into a humor way. The former president who claims to be still the president and who is running to be the president again, that we should be investing America only and America first. We don't realize that the goods which we consume, they come from throughout the world. Your smartphones, I have Apple. It is assembled in China. Now it is being assembled. Part of it is going to be assembled in India and then Mexico. The cars you drive, a lot of the parts, they come from the rest of the world. And what happens is, America actually, because it dominates the technology, it sells that technology and it imports the labor-intensive products which are produced in other countries at a less value on the labor side and sold here in the United States, which means we, the consumers, we save the money. Last time when Trump came in, he put up the tariff for 30% on certain goods from China and Canada. Who paid for that? You and I, we paid for that. And what happened? Yeah, because we do not have that kind of leverage with the elected, and we do not have the time to spend and do demonstrations, because for us, the first thing is put that food on the table. And because that priority is to put the food on the table, takes over every other priority. So we cannot go there, but we end up paying the price. Now he is proposing, if he becomes the president, the first thing he will do, he will put up 10% extra tariff on everything. Again, that's you and I who will be paying for that. And the expansion of the US economy as a gross product, like they calculate, it will shrunk by close to about 1% if it happens. And that is the statistically, that's something which came out only yesterday or day before yesterday. So we need to look at that from that perspective. Vivek Ramaswamy, I will put him in the same line where Trump is. No wonder that he is supporting blindly Donald Trump. The first casualty of the Republican candidates who were running, who are running to be nominated, to get the nomination as a presidential candidate to challenge the Democratic President Joe Biden, who has declared his candidacy, is Francis Suarez, who was the mayor of Miami. He could not qualify for the first debate, so he actually announced that he's going to drop out today. And interestingly, even though the Florida governor DeSantis, he has said that he's not going to campaign, and he's going back to Florida to take care of the emergency situation because of the hurricane. But the word already is coming out that he may actually withdraw also to be the candidate. If he does that, that will be really interesting, because there was a time when he was being looked at as a replacement for Donald Trump, and then he shot himself into the foot so many times. That's where, yes, the politics do matter, but policies also matter. What kind of policy you want, what actually the people want. And out of this whole situation, which I am looking at right now within the United States, I'm looking at basically, 2-3 things. One, of course, is abortion. Second is guns. And third is, to take control of what is being taught in the schools. Since when it has become a national debate, there was always a fine line between, okay, this is the state's territory and we will not touch into it. This is the federal territory, and wherever the states will not implement certain things, only then the federal government will interfere. For example, in Alabama, in redistricting, they did it in a way where they put the blacks into a way minority situation where there was no way they can elect one of their representative to represent them in the House of Representatives. The Supreme Court actually, that redistricting got challenged. The Supreme Court threw it out. They sent it back to the state to change it, and the state actually changed, but nothing really changed. So where it will end up, we don't know yet. We will see how it goes. But it's interesting that how all these things back and forth happens. And out of this whole thing, it is, nobody is talking about the issues. For example, I started the show with the climate change. Finally, at least there are Republicans, grudgingly, they are agreeing to it, including Kevin McCarthy, who said he will, they will plant 1 trillion trees in the United States. Yeah, just make a statement. Logistically, whether it will be possible, can it be done, would it be done? They don't know. Who is going to check? Who is going to go out and count those trees that they were actually planted or not? By the time, the election comes, that will be history. Then they will start talking about something else, like they're already talking about how to impeach Joe Biden. And interestingly, they are talking about Hunter Biden, who is not even running to be the president. And nobody's talking about Donald Trump's sons and son-in-law who got $2 billion from Saudi Arabia for selling the state secrets. I don't see any other reason. Do I have a proof? No, I don't. But do I see, like they say in Punjab, dal ch kuch kala kala? To me, the whole dal looks like kali, But so I will share something here again, which I did way back when one of Joe Biden's son, he actually died, Beau Biden, from cancer. Joe Biden was the vice president at that time, and he ran out of the funds to get his son a treatment. Just imagine, we are talking about living in the United States, the richest country in the world. The vice president does not have the money to get a proper treatment for his son for the cancer. Just think about that. And then when we had, I'm sorry, I'm just going a little bit off the line here, that Trump and other Republicans, they were like, we will replace, Obamacare with what? It's not the solution, but it is better than having nothing, which Republicans offered. But coming to the point, so Joe Biden was about to sell his house so that he can actually fund the treatment for his son. That's when the then President Obama stepped in, because he found out about it, and he said, well, I'll give you the money, don't sell your house. You can always pay me back. That to me shows the integrity of the person. People talk about, he talks slow. He stutters. Thathlaya ho. How many people know that he stutters? So sometime when he stops talking, it's not because he lost his chain of thoughts. It is because he realizes that he's about to start stutter, and he will, pause for a moment, and then he will continue talking. We got to give him a break for that. And moreover, look at the achievements. We are right now looking at that they just announced 10 drugs which the government can directly negotiate with the manufacturers to lower the prices for the patients. This is happening for the first time. And it is happening under, Inflation Reduction Act, which was passed and signed by the President Joe Biden last year, before the Republicans took over the House. And that actually brings me to this. First of all, my sincere prayers for the Scalise, the second in command Republican, who actually just made an announcement today that he got diagnosed with blood cancer. I know it is curable. He actually survived before, and he's a fighter. He will survive again, which is really good. And what will be better if from this fight of the cancer, then he can realize about the people like you and me, that how we, if something happens, how we deal with it, the expenses, the treatment, and everything. And I'm talking about it from first-hand experience because of my wife. I don't want to talk about that, but I'm just letting you know that I know exactly how a family gets destroyed financially and mentally and physically exhausted from every aspect if something like that comes and hits home. So my prayers are there for Representative Scalise. Yeah, so we are talking about, the government shutdown. Why? Because when the debt ceiling was raised, there was an agreement. Now there are right-wing, extreme right, the Freedom Caucus, like they call themselves. They want to take their bite, and they want the government to be shut down if their demands are not met. And one of their demands is to cut down the funding for IRS, which actually is to be used to hire more people to answer your calls. Right now you wait an hour and a half, 2 hours before somebody picks up the phone on IRS. And to cut that, that's where the money was going to go. But no, they will not do it. And the other thing, of course, is, it has nothing to do with their ideology. Nothing at all. So even Mitt Romney is already telling them, don't do it. He's a Republican. And like I said before, had he run, I definitely would have looked at him to give him my vote. Because he's one of the rare breed within the Republicans. And he may not run for his re-election. If he doesn't, that will be a loss for the United States as a country. Because we don't want to lose the people like that who can talk honestly. So, having said that, let us hope, let us wait and see that we will have a mature leadership who will really talk about the politics the way it should be talked about. And we will have some statesmen coming out and doing something about it. Having said that, with that note, till next time, good night and good luck.